Hey guys, Barky back with another Iceberg video, and this video will be covering the paranormal entities and phenomenon Iceberg, so strap in, grab yourself a Coke Zero, and enjoy. Also, don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to reach 15k subs by the end of the year, so let's get right into it. Orbs. Orbs are a phenomenon often associated with paranormal activity, particularly in the context of photography. These orbs appear as circular, translucent shapes that sometimes seem to float in the air. They are usually captured in photographs, especially in those taken with digital cameras in low-light conditions. Several explanations exist for the appearance of orbs, and not all are paranormal in nature. Here are some common explanations. One of the most common explanations for orbs is the presence of airborne particles such as dust, pollen, or moisture. These particles can reflect light back into the camera lens, creating the appearance of a circular orb. In humid environments, water droplets in the air can also reflect light and appear as orbs in photographs. Insects, especially those with reflective or iridescent wings, can create orb-like shapes in photographs when captured by the camera flash. Sometimes internal reflections with the camera lens or between the lens elements can produce orb-like artifacts, particularly when a bright light source is present. And digital cameras, particularly older models, may produce artifacts in low-light conditions, leading to the appearance of orbs. While these explanations are mundane and often scientifically grounded, some individuals associate orbs with paranormal or spiritual activity. Believers argue that orbs represent the presence of spirits, energy, or supernatural entities. Skeptics, on the other hand, contend that the majority of orb phenomena can be explained by natural and non-paranormal factors. Poltergeists. The term poltergeist is derived from the German words poltern, to make noise, and geist, or ghost. A poltergeist is a type of alleged paranormal entity that is said to be responsible for physical disturbances and manifestations, such as moving objects, loud noises, and even physical attacks on individuals. Unlike traditional ghosts, poltergeists are often associated with more active and aggressive behavior. Poltergeists are believed to be capable of moving objects, often in a seemingly random and chaotic manner. This may include levitating or throwing items, banging on walls, or creating loud noises. Some paranormal investigators claim that poltergeist activity is associated with disruptions in electromagnetic fields, leading to malfunctions in electronic devices. Poltergeist activity tends to occur in short bursts or episodes, with intense disturbances happening over a limited period followed by periods of inactivity. Some theories suggest that poltergeist activity may be linked to the subconscious mind of individuals, often adolescents going through periods of emotional stress or turmoil. This psychokinetic theory posits that the disturbances are unintentionally caused by the person experiencing the emotional distress. EVPs. Electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, is a paranormal phenomenon in which unexplained voices or sounds are captured on audio recording devices, typically during investigations related to ghost hunting or paranormal research. The idea is that these mysterious voices are not audible to the human ear at the time of recording, but become apparent when the audio is played back. EVP is often associated with attempts to communicate with spirits or entities from the afterlife. EVP recordings are typically made with devices such as audio recorders, digital voice recorders, or other recording equipment. These devices are often set up in locations that are believed to be haunted or associated with paranormal activity. The EVPs are classified into different categories based on the clarity and intensity of the recorded voices. Class A EVPs are considered to be the clearest and most easily understood, while Class B and Class C EVPs may be more open to interpretation due to lower audio quality. Skeptics argue that EVPs can be explained by natural phenomena such as radio interference, electronic noise, or the psychological phenomenon of pareidolia, where the human brain perceives meaningful patterns such as voices and random or ambiguous stimuli. Paranormal apparition sightings. Paranormal apparition sightings refer to the reported visual appearances of entities or phenomena that are not readily explainable through conventional means. These sightings often involve the perception of ghostly figures, spirits, or other supernatural entities. While many people claim to have experienced apparition sightings, the scientific community generally approaches such reports with skepticism, attributing them to a variety of psychological, environmental, or cultural factors. Apparitions are typically described as visual manifestations that may resemble human figures or other entities. Witnesses often report seeing transparent or semi-transparent figures, often dressed in clothing from a specific era. The sightings are often associated with haunted locations. People who claim to have encountered apparitions may describe the entities as interacting with the environment, moving through walls, or appearing and disappearing suddenly. Some paranormal enthusiasts categorize apparition sightings based on the nature of the interaction. Residual hauntings involve repetitive actions or images, like a ghostly figure walking a specific path without awareness of the living. Intelligent hauntings suggest that the entity is aware of its surroundings and may interact with those present. Charlie. Charlie Charlie is a simple yet controversial paranormal game that gained popularity on social media, particularly among young people. The game involves attempting to communicate with a supernatural entity named Charlie using a makeshift Ouija board constructed from a sheet of paper and 2 pencils. While the game has been dismissed by many as a harmless and purely fictional activity, it has also stirred controversy and concerns due to its association with the supernatural. To play the game, participants draw a cross on a sheet of paper, creating 4 quadrants. In each quadrant, they write yes or no in alternating order. They then balance one pencil on top of the other, creating a makeshift cross with the pencils. Participants start the game by invoking the spirit of Charlie. Traditionally, this is done by asking Charlie, Charlie, are you there? Or a similar question with the expectation that the pencils will move in response. According to the game's lore, if Charlie is present, the pencils are believed to move to indicate his responses. The movement is often attributed to the supernatural, suggesting that Charlie is communicating through the pencils. Remote viewing. Remote viewing is a practice that involves attempting to gather information about a distant or unseen target, often using extrasensory perception, or ESP, or anomalous cognition. The concept gained popularity in the 1970s and 80s, primarily through the involvement of the US government in research programs like the Stargate Project, which aimed to investigate the military potential of psychic phenomena, including remote viewing. Remote viewing typically follows specific protocols to reduce biases and enhance the accuracy of the information retrieval. These protocols may involve a controlled environment, a designated target, and the use of coordinates or other methods to focus the viewer's attention. Remote viewing gained public attention in the 1970s when it was revealed that the US government had funded research into psychic phenomena under programs like Stargate Project. The project involved various individuals, including remote viewers, attempting to gather information on remote targets for military and intelligence purposes. Some individuals gained prominence for their involvement in the remote viewing programs. Notably, Ingo Swann and Uri Geller were among those associated with early research on psychic phenomena and remote viewing. Fortune-telling. Fortune-telling, also known as divination, is the practice of attempting to gain insight into a person's future or destiny through various mystical or supernatural means. It has a long history and exists in various forms across cultures. Many people turn to fortune-tellers for guidance, entertainment, or a sense of reassurance. While some individuals believe in the accuracy of these practices, others approach them with skepticism. Tarot cards are a deck of cards with symbolic images and meanings. During a tarot card reading, a fortune teller shuffles the deck and lays out the cards in a specific pattern or spread. The cards are then interpreted to provide insights into various aspects of the person's life, such as love, career, or personal growth. Astrology involves the study of celestial bodies' position and movements, especially their influence on human affairs and natural events. Horoscopes, based on the positions of the sun, moon, and planets at the time of a person's birth, are commonly used for predicting personality traits and future events. Also known as chiromancy, palmistry involves interpreting the lines, shapes, and mounts on a person's palm. A palmist may claim to reveal information about an individual's character, personality, and future based on the lines and features of the hand. Numerology is the study of mystical significance of numbers. Practitioners assign specific meanings to numbers and use them to analyze various aspects of a person's life. This can include calculating a person's life path number or using numbers associated with names and dates. Scrying or crystal ball gazing involves staring into a crystal ball or another reflective surface to receive visions or insights. The fortune teller interprets the images or symbols perceived in the crystal ball to provide information about the person's future. Runes are ancient alphabets used by various Germanic languages before the adoption of the Latin alphabet. In divination, runes are often inscribed on stones or cards, and the fortune teller interprets their arrangement or casting to provide guidance. Spirit houses. Spirit houses are a cultural and religious phenomenon found in various parts of the world, especially in Southeast Asia. These small structures are typically designed as miniature houses or shrines and are believed to provide shelter and appease spirits, deities, or supernatural beings. The specific practices associated with spirit houses vary across different cultures and religions. These spirits are often believed to influence various aspects of daily life, including the well-being and prosperity of the people living in the vicinity. The houses are most commonly associated with Southeast Asian cultures, including Thai, Lao, Cambodian, and Burmese traditions. However, similar practices exist in other parts of the world, such as the Pacific Islands and parts of Africa. They are typically placed in prominent locations, such as in front of homes, businesses, or public spaces. The location is chosen based on the traditional beliefs about auspicious or spiritually significant places. People who maintain spirit houses often make regular offerings to the spirits or deities associated with the house. Offerings may include food, drinks, flowers, incense, and other symbolic items. Rituals and ceremonies are conducted to honor and seek the favor of spirits. The houses are believed to act as intermediaries between the human world and the spirit world, ensuring harmony and balance in that community. Spirit photography. Spirit photography is a practice that gained popularity in the 19th and early 20th centuries, claiming to capture images of ghosts, spirits, or other supernatural entities on photographic film. This phenomenon emerged with the advent of photography and became associated with the spiritualist movement, which believed in the ability to communicate with the spirits of the deceased. One of the most well-known spirit photographers was William H. Mumler, who gained fame in the mid-1800s. Mumler's photographs often featured images of faint, ghostly figures alongside living individuals. His work was controversial, and he faced accusations of fraud, but some people believed in the authenticity of his images. Critics of spirit photography argued that many of the images were the result of photographic techniques such as double exposure, where two images were superimposed on the same photographic plate. Manipulation of the negative during development was also a common method for creating ghostly effects. As photographic technology advanced and skepticism grew about the authenticity of spirit photographs, the credibility of spirit photography declined. ESP. ESP, or extrasensory perception, refers to the ability to acquire information or knowledge beyond ordinary human senses. It implies the reception of information without relying on the traditional senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, or smell. ESP is often associated with paranormal or psychic phenomena and has been a subject of interest and investigation in both scientific and pseudoscientific contexts. There are four main types of ESP: telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and telekinesis or psychokinesis. Telepathy is the ability to perceive thoughts or feelings from another person's mind without the use of known human senses. Clairvoyance is gaining information about an object, location, or event without direct interaction or sensory input. Precognition is perceiving or predicting events that have not yet occurred, and telekinesis or psychokinesis is influencing or moving physical objects without direct physical interaction. ESP has been the subject of numerous scientific studies, especially in parapsychology, which is the branch of psychology that deals with paranormal phenomena. Researchers have conducted experiments to test individuals for telepathic abilities, precognition, and other forms of ESP. However, the scientific community has generally remained skeptical due to the lack of consistent and robust evidence. The scientific method relies on empirical evidence and reproducibility, and ESP phenomena have not demonstrated consistent and reliable results under controlled conditions. Parapsychologists study ESP and related phenomena, but the field has faced criticism for lacking a solid theoretical framework and consistent experimental results. Paranormal scarring. Paranormal scarring as a concept is not widely recognized or documented within mainstream scientific literature. The term is not commonly associated with established paranormal phenomena, and there is limited empirical evidence to support claims of scars or injuries caused by supernatural or paranormal activities. Instead, such notions are often more closely tied to folklore, anecdotal accounts, or paranormal narratives. In some paranormal stories or urban legends, individuals claim to have acquired mysterious scars or markings without any apparent cause or conventional explanation. These stories might be attributed to encounters with supernatural entities, extraterrestrial beings, or otherworldly phenomena. However, it's crucial to approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, as there are various possible explanations for unexplained marks or scars. Skin conditions, allergies, or insect bites can sometimes cause unusual markings on the skin. These can be misinterpreted as paranormal if the individual is not aware of the specific cause. Psychological conditions such as stress, anxiety, and certain types of delusions might lead individuals to believe they have experienced paranormal events or encounters. Individuals may inadvertently cause injuries to themselves, perhaps during sleep or periods of altered consciousness, leading to unexplained markings, and in some cases, individuals may fabricate stories of paranormal scarring for attention, personal reasons, or as part of broader narrative. Kate Morgan. Kate Morgan is a figure associated with the paranormal and famous case in history of the Hotel del Coronado in Coronado, California. The story of Kate Morgan is often cited in discussions of ghostly encounters and hauntings. The basic narrative of Kate Morgan's stories is as follows. In November 1892, a woman named Kate Morgan checked into the Hotel del Coronado under the alias Lottie A. Bernard. She was reportedly waiting for her estranged husband to join her. However, after several days, her husband did not appear, and on November 29, 1892, Kate's lifeless body was discovered on a staircase leading up to the beach. She had a gunshot wound to the head, and a gun was found near her. The circumstances surrounding Kate Morgan's death remain mysterious. While it was initially considered to be self-inflicted, some aspects of the case fueled speculation, and the questions were raised about the possibility of foul play. The hotel staff and guests reported various paranormal occurrences and sightings associated with Kate's presence after her death. Guests and staff members claim to have seen the ghostly figure of a woman believed to be Kate Morgan in and around the hotel. Some reported encounters in the guest room where she had stayed. Cold spots and sudden drops in temperature were reported in areas associated with Kate Morgan's story, contributing to the belief in her lingering presence. Strange noises such as footsteps, doors opening and closing, and the sound of a weeping woman were reported in areas linked to Kate's history. Some guests reported witnessing objects moving on their own, attributed to Kate's ghostly presence. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary refers to a popular folklore and ghost story game that involves participants summoning a ghostly apparition by repeating the name Bloody Mary multiple times while looking in a mirror. The ritual is often performed in a dark or candlelit room and is said to result in the appearance of a spectral figure in the mirror. The ritual is often conducted in a bathroom. Participants usually dim the lights or use candles to create a spooky atmosphere. While looking in the mirror, participants chant Bloody Mary a specified number of times. The number can vary, and different versions of the game may have different instructions, such as chanting the name a certain number of times or saying it in front of the mirror a specific number of times. According to the legend, after repeating the name, participants are supposed to witness an apparition of a woman named Bloody Mary in the mirror. The apparition is often described as a ghostly figure with a bloody or disfigured face. Quay. Quay is a central figure in a well-known ghost story associated with the historic Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York. The Shanley Hotel is reputed to be haunted, and Quay's spirit is said to be one of the entities believed to linger in the building. Quay, as the tale goes, was a young girl who lived at the Shanley Hotel during the early 20th century. According to the legend, she was tragically killed by a horse-drawn carriage while playing on the property. As a result of this untimely demise, her spirit is said to have remained at the hotel, creating a paranormal presence. The ghostly occurrences associated with Quay at the Shanley Hotel include reports of footsteps, disembodied voices, and other mysterious happenings. Visitors and paranormal enthusiasts often share stories of experiencing unexplained phenomena, and Quay is often considered one of the more famous ghosts associated with that hotel. It's important to note that the stories of ghosts and hauntings, including those of Quay, are primarily rooted in folklore and legend. While the Shanley Hotel embraces its reputation as a haunted location and offers paranormal-themed events and tours, there is no scientific evidence supporting the existence of ghosts or paranormal activities. Voodoo Dolls. Voodoo dolls are associated with the practice of voodoo, a religion that originated in West Africa and developed in the Caribbean, particularly in Haiti. While the use of voodoo dolls is a popular and sensationalized aspect of the religion in popular culture, it's essential to understand their significance within the context of voodoo practices. In voodoo, practitioners use various ritual objects to communicate with spirits or deities. Voodoo dolls, known as Quen, are one such representation. Contrary to popular belief, these dolls are not primarily used for harming others but rather as symbolic tools for spiritual connection. Voodoo dolls are often personalized to represent a specific individual. They may be crafted using materials such as clay, cloth, or straw, and items belonging to the person being represented, such as hair or clothing, may be incorporated. The purpose of a voodoo doll is to serve as a focal point for spiritual energy, not necessarily for causing harm. In voodoo, rituals involving the doll aim to establish a connection with spirits or ancestors, seeking their guidance and protection or assistance. Voodoo is a community-oriented religion, and rituals involving voodoo dolls are often conducted within a religious community. These rituals may include dance, music, chanting, and offerings to invoke the presence of spirits. The Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman is a legendary ghost ship that is said to be cursed to sail the seas forever without ever making port. The legend has various nautical and supernatural elements, and the story of the Flying Dutchman has become a part of maritime folklore. The origin of the Flying Dutchman is not precisely known, but it has been part of maritime lore for centuries. The earliest known references date back to the 18th century. The legend has since been passed down through generations of sailors and has inspired various adaptations in literature, music, and popular culture. The central figure in the Flying Dutchman legend is typically the captain of the ship, who is said to have invoked the wrath of a god or the devil. The nature of the curse varies in different versions of the story, but it often involves a defiance of the natural order or a blasphemous act. As a result of the curse, the Flying Dutchman is condemned to sail the seas indefinitely, unable to make port. The ship is often described as being shrouded in eerie, phantom-like lights or surrounded by a ghostly aura. According to superstitions among sailors, encountering the Flying Dutchman is considered an omen of doom. It is believed that sighting the ghost ship brings bad luck or foretells a disaster at sea. In some versions of the legend, crew members aboard the Flying Dutchman are said to be ghosts or souls of sailors who perished at sea. These spectral crew members may be condemned to serve on the ship for eternity. The Bell Witch. The Bell Witch is the name given to a famous American folk legend and alleged poltergeist haunting that took place in the early 19th century in Robertson County, Tennessee. The legend is centered around the Bell family and their encounters with a malevolent entity known as the Bell Witch. The story begins in 1817 when John Bell and his family, including his wife Lucy and their children, settled in a rural area near Adams, Tennessee. The haunting allegedly started with unexplained noises on the Bell property, including knocking sounds and the sound of chains being dragged. The disturbances escalated over time to include physical attacks on family members, with particular attention given to John Bell and his daughter Betsy. One of the most notable features of the Bell Witch haunting was the disembodied voice that identified itself as Kate. This voice supposedly displayed knowledge of private conversations and made predictions and engaged in conversations with family members and visitors. The Bell Witch is said to have physically harmed family members, including scratching, slapping, and pulling hair. John Bell's health reportedly deteriorated and he died in 1820 under mysterious circumstances. The witch reportedly had a strong dislike for Betsy Bell and was involved in thwarting her romantic relationship with a local man named Joshua Gardner. The haunting reportedly came to an end in 1821 after Betsy Bell called off her engagement with Joshua Gardner. The entity claimed it would return in 7 years, which it allegedly did for a brief period. The legend of the Bell Witch is primarily based on eyewitness accounts and historical documents from the time. The most well-known source is the book An Authenticated History of the Bell Witch, written by Martin Van Buren Ingram in 1894. Raggedy and Doll. The paranormal Raggedy Ann doll is often associated with the infamous haunted doll known as Annabelle. The story of Annabelle has become well known due to its inclusion in paranormal investigations and popular culture, particularly through movies. Annabelle is a vintage Raggedy Ann doll known for her red yarn hair and simple innocent appearance. The original Raggedy Ann doll was created by Johnny Gruelle and patented in 1915. The specific Annabelle doll in question was reportedly purchased at a hobby store in the 70s. The doll gained notoriety when it became the center of claims of paranormal activity. According to the story, the doll's owners, a young nurse named Donna and a roommate Angie, began noticing strange occurrences involving Annabelle. The owners initially believed the doll was moving on its own and leaving notes. They contacted a medium who claimed that the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins was inhabiting the doll. The owners, sympathetic to the spirit, allowed Annabelle to stay. The paranormal activity escalated, and the spirit's behavior became more malevolent. It reportedly attacked Donna's friend Lou and left claw marks on his chest. Fearing for their safety, the owners sought the help of paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, concluded that the doll was not possessed by a human spirit, but rather a demonic entity posing as a harmless spirit. The Warrens took possession of Annabelle and placed her in a glass case where she remains on display at their occult museum in Connecticut. The doll gained further notoriety through its inclusion in the Conjuring film franchise. The first film, titled Annabelle, was released in 2014, and subsequent movies explored the doll's backstory and its connection to paranormal cases investigated by the Warrens. Astral Projection. Astral projection, known as an out-of-body experience or OBE, is a phenomenon in which an individual's consciousness or spirit appears to travel outside the physical body. During astral projection, individuals report the sensation of floating, flying, or moving through space independently of their physical form. This experience is often associated with a sense of heightened awareness and perception. The individual may feel as though they are observing their physical body from a vantage point outside of it. Those who claim to have had astral projection experiences may navigate through their surroundings, often visiting distant locations or exploring non-physical realms. Astral projection experiences are sometimes associated with sleep paralysis, a phenomenon where the individual temporarily experiences the inability to speak or move while transitioning between wakefulness and sleep. Astral projection is often discussed in the context of spiritual and metaphysical beliefs, and some believe that during astral projection the consciousness is free to explore different planes of existence, communicate with spiritual entities, and gain insights into the nature of reality. Various methods and techniques are said to induce this, including meditation, visualization, and specific breathing exercises. Some practitioners also use tools such as binaural beats or guided imagery to facilitate the experience. Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll is a famous haunted doll with a storied history and a reputation for paranormal activity. This eerie doll has become the popular subject of fascination and has even been considered one of the most haunted objects in the world. Robert the Doll was created in the early 20th century by a Bahamian servant and skilled craftsman named Robert Eugene Otto. The doll was given to young Robert as a gift, and they both shared the same name. The doll is approximately 3 feet tall and has a sailor suit with dark hair and button-like eyes. Its overall appearance is considered somewhat unsettling by many. Numerous supernatural claims surround Robert the Doll. The most common story suggests that the doll was used for mysterious and malevolent purposes. Some locals in Key West, Florida, where the doll resides, believe that it is cursed or possessed. According to legends, the young Robert Otto often spoke to the doll and claimed that it responded. The doll was also blamed for mischievous and even malicious behavior, causing incidents and moving around the house on its own. Some stories suggest that the doll was created by a servant skilled in black magic, and it was cursed to bring misfortune to its owners. Others claim that the doll became possessed by the spirit of a restless child who harbored resentment. Today, Robert the Doll is on display at the Fort East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida. The museum staff often receives letters of apology from visitors who believe they have experienced misfortune after taking photographs of the doll without asking permission. According to the local lore, visitors are advised to ask permission before taking a photograph of Robert the Doll. It is believed that failure to seek permission may lead to a curse or bad luck. Some even claim that writing letters of apology to the doll can lift the curse. Hitodama. Hitodama is a term from Japanese folklore and mythology that refers to a phenomenon where mysterious ghostly flames or orbs are said to appear. The term Hitodama translates to human soul or human spirit in English. These ghostly lights are often described as spherical, floating orbs that emit an ethereal glow. Hitodama are often mentioned in the context of funerals or death-related folklore. It is said that the appearance of these orbs is a sign that a spirit is in transition from the physical world to the afterlife. The presence of a Hitodama is not necessarily considered malevolent. Instead, they are seen as natural and temporary manifestation of the departing spirit. The phenomenon is regarded with a mixture of awe and respect. Nang Takon. Nang Takon, also known as the Lady of Takon, is a spirit or female ghost in Thai folklore. The legend of Nang Takon is associated with the sacred old tree, often referred to as the Takon tree, where the spirit is believed to reside. The legend has cultural significance in Thailand and is often told as a cautionary tale. In some versions of the story, Nang Takon is portrayed as a benevolent guardian spirit of the forest or a protector of the Takon tree. People believe that disturbing the tree or disrespecting the spirit may lead to misfortune. Nang Takon is sometimes attributed with supernatural abilities such as the power to shapeshift or to influence the well-being of the local community. The spirit may be invoked for blessings or protection. Jungi. Jungi, also known as hopping vampires or hopping zombies, are mythical creatures in Japanese folklore. Unlike the Western concept of zombies, Jungi are reanimated corpses that move by hopping, often with their arms outstretched. They are typically associated with Taoist beliefs, and the concept of hopping is thought to be a result of rigor mortis. Jungi are often depicted wearing Qing Dynasty clothing and have a stiff, upright posture. They are often associated with the reanimation of corpses due to the improper burial or unfinished business. Folklore often includes methods to prevent or capture Jungi. These methods may involve placing protective talismans on corpses or using certain herbs and rituals. While Jungi share similarities within Western vampire legends, such as a thirst for life force or blood, they are distinct entities with unique characteristics. Possession. Demonic possession is a concept found in various religious and cultural traditions, often involving the belief that an individual's body or mind is under control of a malevolent spiritual entity, typically referred to as a demon or evil spirit. The idea of demonic possession is deeply rooted in religious and mythological narratives and has been the subject of fascination, fear, and controversy throughout history. In Christianity, for example, demonic possession is mentioned in the New Testament, where Jesus is described as casting out demons from individuals. Commonly reported symptoms include drastic personality changes, speaking in unknown languages, superhuman strength, aversion to sacred symbols or objects, and knowledge of hidden or distant information. Many religious traditions have rituals and practices for exorcism, the process of expelling a demon or evil spirit from a possessed individual. Exorcisms are often performed by religious authorities, such as priests or shamans, using prayers, rituals, and sacred symbols. Okiku. Okiku is a legendary figure in Japanese folklore known for her tragic story associated with a haunted well and a cursed air. The tale of Okiku has been adapted and retold in various forms, including kabuki plays, novels, and films. The story is said to have originated during the Edo period in Japan and has since become a popular and enduring ghost story. The tale is often set in Himeji Castle, though variations of the story may place it in different locations. Himeji Castle is one of Japan's most iconic castles and is known for its historical significance and architectural beauty. Okiku is portrayed as a young and beautiful servant who worked in the household of Aoyama Tasan, a samurai and retainer of Lord Hosokawa. Aoyama Tasan had entrusted Okiku with a set of 10 precious plates but Okiku accidentally broke one of them. In some variations of the story, the broken plate is also said to be a valuable family heirloom. Afraid of the consequences, Okiku tried to hide the broken plate, but her actions were discovered by a fellow servant or a jealous rival, depending on the story. The deceitful individual accused Okiku of stealing and hiding the missing plate. Oyama-san, believing the false accusation, punished Okiku harshly. It is said that she was tortured and eventually thrown down a well to her death. Following her death, Okiku's vengeful spirit is said to have haunted the well, counting from 1 to 9 in a sorrowful voice. The ghostly counting is often described as eerie and chilling. The Lady in Red. The Lady in Red is a popular and widespread motif in various forms of folklore, mythology, literature, and popular culture. The image typically evokes a sense of mystery, romance, or tragedy. While there isn't a single specific story or character universally known as the Lady in Red, variations of this archetype appear in different cultural contexts. In paranormal and ghost stories, the Lady in Red is sometimes depicted as a spectral figure, often associated with tragedy or violent death. Legends of haunted locations may include a Lady in Red haunting a specific area, with her appearance believed to foretell misfortune. Lady in Red is sometimes linked to historical tragedies such as shipwrecks, fires, or wars. In some urban legends, the Lady in Red may be a hitchhiker or a ghostly figure encountered on desolate roads. The person who encounters her may offer her a ride only to discover that she has disappeared, leaving behind a sense of foreboding. The Greenbrier Ghost. The Greenbrier Ghost is a famous ghost story and legal case from the late 19th century in West Virginia. The story involves around the death of Elva Zona Heister Shue, who was found dead in her home in Greenbrier County in 1897. Initially, her death was ruled as everlasting faint or childbirth, and a local doctor, who was also Shue's husband, declared that she died of natural causes. However, Elva's mother, Mary Jane Heister, was convinced that her daughter's death was suspicious. She claimed that Elva's ghost appeared to her, revealing that she had been murdered by her husband, Edward Shue. According to Mary Jane, the ghost told her that Shue had broken her neck. Mary Jane's persistence led to an autopsy which revealed that Elva had indeed died from a broken neck. Edward Shue was arrested and later convicted of murder. The case gained national attention as it was one of the first instances in the United States where testimony from a ghost played a significant role in a murder trial. Krahong. The Krahong is a mythical creature in Thai folklore, often depicted as a malevolent spirit or ghost. It is commonly associated with black magic and is believed to be summoned through occult practices. The Krahong is often described as a male spirit with a disheveled appearance. It is said to have a frightening and intimidating look, with long disheveled hair and a pale ghostly complexion. The Krahong is believed to be created through supernatural means, often involving dark magic rituals. It is said that individuals who practice black magic or engage in forbidden occult activities may create or summon the Krahong to carry out their malevolent intentions. Given its reputation for malevolence, various protective measures are taken to guard against the Krahong. These may include charms, amulets, or rituals performed by practitioners of white magic or spiritual leaders. Banjakri and Banjakrini. Banjakri and Banjakrini are revered spiritual figures in the belief systems of some communities in the Indian state of Sikkim, particularly among the Nepali-speaking population. These figures are associated with shamanistic practices, traditional rituals, and the worship of nature spirits. Banjakri is often considered a male spirit or a shamanic figure with healing powers. The term Banjakri is sometimes translated as forest shaman or jungle shaman. Banjakri is believed to have a deep connection with nature, and his powers are often associated with the elements, plants, and the forest. He is seen as a guardian spirit and mediator between the human world and the spirit world. Devotees may engage in rituals and ceremonies to invoke the blessings of Banjakri. These rituals often take place in natural settings such as forests or near waterfalls, emphasizing the connection between the spiritual and natural realms. Banjakrini is the female counterpart to Banjakri. She is also associated with healing and protective powers. Banjakrini is often depicted as a nature spirit, and her attributes may include a deep affinity with plants, water, and other elements of the natural world. The Banjakrini is symbolically important in representing the balance and harmony between the masculine and feminine energies in nature. Together with Banjakri, they are believed to bring about healing and well-being. Mediumship. Mediumship refers to the practice of individuals known as mediums who claim to have the ability to communicate with spirits or entities from the spirit world. This concept is deeply rooted in various spiritual and religious traditions and has been a part of human nature for centuries. There are different types of mediums, each with its own approach. Some mediums claim to communicate with spirits through clairvoyance, clairaudience, or other psychic abilities. Mediums employ various methods to facilitate communication with spirits. This can include trance states, where the medium allows a spirit to temporarily take control of their consciousness, or using divination tools such as crystal balls, tarot cards, and pendulums. Spirits are believed to convey messages through mediums, and these messages may be personal, offering guidance, comfort, or closure to the living, or they may involve broader spiritual insights. Despite skepticism, mediumship continues to be practiced today. Many people seek the services of mediums for various reasons, including connecting with deceased loved ones, seeking guidance, or exploring spiritual dimensions. Napo. Napo, also known as the Faceless Ghost or No Face, is a creature from Japanese folklore. The term napara is derived from the verb naparu, which means to flatten or to smooth, emphasizing the featureless nature of the creature's face. Instead of a normal face, it appears as if the skin is smooth and featureless. This can be particularly unsettling for those who encounter it. Napo usually appears in human form, often a beautiful woman, to lure unsuspecting individuals. It may take on the appearance of someone familiar to the observer. As implied, the Napo is known for its deceptive behavior. It often approaches individuals under the guise of a friend, a family member, or a beautiful stranger, only to reveal its facelessness at a later moment. The aim is to frighten or startle the person rather than causing harm. Encounters with the Napo are typically described as eerie or unsettling rather than overtly dangerous. The creature may vanish or reveal its faceless nature before disappearing. Ubume. Ubume is a supernatural entity from Japanese folklore, and the term can be translated as pregnant woman or ghost of a woman who died in childbirth. The Ubume is often associated with tragic tales of maternal love and compassion. The backstory of Ubume typically involves a woman who dies during childbirth or under tragic circumstances related to pregnancy. The spirit may return from the afterlife, lingering in the mortal realm due to unfinished business or a deep concern for her child. In many Ubume stories, the ghostly figure approaches living individuals, particularly mothers or families seeking assistance for her child. This may involve asking for breast milk or aid in caring for the infant left behind. The ghostly mother is portrayed as a figure who deeply cares for her child even in death, reflecting the cultural importance placed on the mother-child bond. These tales serve as cautionary narratives or explore themes of compassion, empathy, and the consequences of tragic circumstances. Arang Minyak. Arang Minyak, which translates to oily man in Malay, is a mythical figure in Malaysian folklore. The legend of the Arang Minyak centers around a mysterious and malevolent creature with supernatural abilities, often associated with acts of violence. The creature is said to be covered in an oily, slippery substance, rendering it difficult to catch. The Arang Minyak is described as a dark, humanoid figure covered in a layer of oily or greasy substance, making it difficult for anyone to grab or restrain the creature. In some variations of the legend, Arang Minyak is depicted as being naked, adding to the eerie and unsettling nature of the character. It is said to possess the ability to turn invisible, making it elusive and difficult to apprehend, and is believed to move at an exceptionally fast pace, allowing it to escape from pursuers easily. The legend often portrays the creature as a nocturnal prowler that terrorizes communities during the night. In some versions of the story, it is suggested that the Arang Minyak is a result of black magic or supernatural rituals, with the creature being sent to carry out the bidding of a malevolent sorcerer. Preta. In Hindu mythology, a preta is a type of supernatural being, often translated as hungry ghost or departed spirit. Pretas are believed to be the restless and tormented spirits of deceased individuals who experience excessive desire, greed, or attachment during their lifetimes. They are considered to be in an unfortunate state, experiencing suffering and hunger. Pretas are often depicted with emaciated and gaunt appearances, emphasizing their hunger and suffering. In some representations, they may have large bellies and thin necks, highlighting their inability to satisfy their desires. This suffering is a result of negative actions, particularly excessive attachment and greed, committed during their earthly lives. In Hindu cosmology, Pretas are believed to inhabit a specific realm or plane of existence known as the Preta Loka. This is one of the 6 realms of existence in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The state of being a Preta is considered a result of negative karma accumulated in past lives. The suffering endured by Pretas is believed to be a consequence of their own actions, particularly those related to selfishness and craving. In Hindu traditions, people may perform rituals and make offerings to appease Pretas and alleviate their suffering. This is often done during ceremonies such as Pitru Paksha, a fortnight dedicated to paying homage to one's ancestors. Bilocation. Bilocation is a phenomenon in which an individual is said to be or appears to be in 2 different places at the same time. It is often associated with supernatural and paranormal occurrences and is reported in various religious, mystical, and mystical traditions. Bilocation has been attributed to certain saints, mystics, and spiritual figures in various religious traditions. In Catholicism, for example, there are accounts of saints, such as Saint Padre Pio and Saint Alphonsus Liguori, being observed in two different locations simultaneously. Outside of religious contexts, there are anecdotal accounts of bilocation associated with paranormal or supernatural events. Individuals have claimed to witness or experience being in two places at once. While there are numerous historical and anecdotal accounts of bilocation like we've already gone over, there is a lack of scientific evidence to support the phenomenon. The scientific community generally views such claims with skepticism, often attributing them to psychological or perceptual factors. Huntu Raya. Huntu Raya is a term that originates from the Malay folklore and translates to Great Ghost or Big Ghost in English. In the context of Malay mythology, Huntu Raya is often associated with supernatural entities or malevolent spirits that are believed to be particularly powerful and fearsome. Huntu Raya is typically regarded as a potent and formidable spirit, often possessing greater strength and capabilities than ordinary ghosts or spirits in Malay folklore. While the specific attributes and actions of Huntu Raya may vary, it is generally considered a malevolent entity that can cause harm, misfortune, or even pose a threat to individuals. These tales may be told to convey moral lessons, instill cultural values, or serve as cautionary narratives. In some cultural practices, individuals may perform rituals or ceremonies to seek protection from Huntu Raya. This can include reciting prayers, using talismans, or engaging in specific rituals to ward off malevolent spirits. Pelet. In Malay folklore, a Pelet is a supernatural creature associated with black magic and mysticism. The Pelet is often described as a small, invisible spirit or familiar, which is said to be controlled by a practitioner of black magic known as a bomo or dukun. The Pelet is believed to be invisible to the naked eye. It is said to take on a spectral form, making it difficult for ordinary people to detect. When invisible, it is often described as taking the form of a small animal, such as a grasshopper, cricket, or a small bird. The Pelet is said to be under control of a bomo or dukun, who uses it for nefarious purposes. In response to the belief in the Pelet's malevolent actions, individuals may employ various protective measures to ward off such spirits. These can include the use of talismans, charms, or seeking the assistance of traditional healers. La Llorona. La Llorona, also known as the Weeping Woman, is a prominent figure in Latin American folklore. Her legend is widely shared across various Hispanic cultures, with variations in the details of the story. The tale of La Llorona is often used as a cautionary and morality story, warning children to behave and obey their parents. The legend typically revolves around a woman named Maria or a woman with a similar name. Maria is often depicted as a beautiful woman who falls in love with a man, but he is unfaithful and abandons her. Overwhelmed by grief, betrayal, and despair, Maria commits a terrible act such as drowning her children in a river. After realizing the gravity of her actions and irreversible consequences of her deeds, Maria is condemned to wander Earth in a ghostly form. Her spirit is tormented, and she is often described as searching for her lost children, forever weeping and wailing. La Llorona is said to appear near bodies of water, such as rivers and lakes, searching for her children. Some versions of the legend suggest that she might also try to target other children, believing them to be her own. Parents might use the story to encourage good behavior by emphasizing the consequences of making poor choices. Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste is a famous maritime mystery associated with the discovery of an American merchant ship found adrift and abandoned in the Atlantic Ocean. The incident has sparked speculation and numerous theories since the ship was found deserted in 1872. On December 4, 1872, the Mary Celeste was discovered drifting off the Azores Islands in the Atlantic Ocean by the British brigantine De Gratia. The ship was in seaworthy condition, with its sails partially set and a cargo of alcohol and industrial equipment intact. There were no signs of struggle or violence. The crew's personal belongings, including valuables, were left behind, and the ship's lifeboat was missing. The entire crew of the Mary Celeste, including the captain, Benjamin S. Briggs, his wife, and their young daughter, was missing. The mystery of the Mary Celeste remains unsolved. Despite extensive investigations, no definitive explanation for the crew's disappearance has ever been determined. The ship's chronometer suggested that the crew had left ship only a short time before it was discovered. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed to explain the crew's disappearance, including piracy, mutiny, an explosion, or an attack by a sea monster. However, none of these theories have been proven, and the fate of the crew remains a mystery. Madame Kooi. Lady Kooi is an urban legend that has circulated in various African countries, particularly Nigeria and South Africa. The legend typically involves a mysterious and supernatural woman, often referred to as Lady Kooi, who is said to roam the streets at night, preying on unsuspecting individuals. The details of the legend may vary, but there are common elements found in different versions of the story. Lady Kooi is often described as a beautiful woman who appears normal at first glance. However, in some versions, her feet are said to be turned backward. She may be encountered by individuals walking alone after dark in deserted or quiet areas. She is known for her deceptive attacks. She may approach unsuspecting individuals, often portraying herself as a lost or distressed woman in need of assistance. The consequences of encountering Lady Kooi can vary in different versions of the legend. Some stories suggest that those who encounter her may face misfortune, illness, or even death. Lady Kooi legend is often used as a cautionary tale to warn people, especially children, against wandering the streets alone at night. Parents or older individuals may use the story to instill a sense of caution and prevent risky behavior. Penanggalan. The Penanggalan, also known as the Hantu Penanggal, is a mythical creature in Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. It is often described as a female spirit or supernatural being with the ability to detach its head and organs from its body. It's typically associated with dark and malevolent forces, and its nocturnal activities are the stuff of local legends. The Penanggalan is said to appear as an ordinary woman during the day. However, at night, it acquires the ability to detach its head and organs, which are connected to the body by viscera, leaving the empty torso behind. The detached head of the Penanggalan is believed to fly freely in search of victims. In some versions of the legend, the head is described as having sharp fangs or teeth, and it may emit a faint, eerie glow. It's most active during the night, especially during the full moon, and it is believed to seek out pregnant women or newborn babies as its preferred victims. The primary motive of the Penanggalan is to feed on the blood of its victims. It may use its elongated proboscis to pierce the belly of pregnant women and drink blood from the fetus, causing harm or death. Various folk beliefs and practices are associated with protecting oneself from the Penanggalan. This may include using thorny plants, such as thistles or bamboo spikes, to surround the house, or by placing items believed to have protective properties around the house like garlic. Muma Paduri. Muma Paduri, or literally translated as the Mother of the Forest in Romanian, is a mythical figure in Romanian folklore, particularly associated with the dense and mysterious forests of the Carpathian Mountains. Muma Paduri is often depicted as a supernatural being, a forest spirit, or a witch, who guards the secrets of the woods and punishes those who disrespect or harm nature. The appearance of Muma Paduri may vary in different folktales, but she is often portrayed as an old, haggard woman with wild, unkempt hair and dark, tattered clothing. Her appearance reflects the primal and untamed nature of the forest. Those who show respect for nature and follow certain rules may be rewarded, while those who harm the environment or disrespect the forest may face consequences, as she is known to dish out. These punishments may include curses, illness, or other misfortunes. In some stories, she may transform the people into animals or plants as a form of retribution. People can leave offerings in the forest, such as bread, salt, or other items, as a gesture of respect to Muma Paduri. This was done to seek her protection and ensure a safe passage through the woods. Arang Madan. The Arang Madan is a maritime mystery and urban legend that gained prominence in the mid-20th century. The story revolves around the alleged discovery of a ship, the SS Arang Madan, under mysterious circumstances. While the tale has captivated the imagination of many, it is widely considered a maritime legend with questionable authenticity. According to the legend, in the late 1940s, two American vessels, the City of Baltimore and the Silver Star, reportedly received distress signals from the Dutch merchant ship SS Arang Madan in the waters of the Strait of Malacca. The distress signals indicated to the crews that the crew of the Arang Madan was in trouble. The messages reportedly claimed that the captain and the crew were all dead, and the nature of their emergency was described as something unknown. When the Silver Star reached the location provided in the distress call and boarded the Arang Madan, they allegedly discovered a chilling scene. The entire crew of the Arang Madan, including the captain, officers, and crew members, were found dead under mysterious circumstances. The crew members were said to have expressions of terror on their faces, and there were no signs of external injuries. Even the ship's dog was found dead. The cause of death was never officially determined, and the theories ranged from poison gas to supernatural causes. According to some versions of the legend, after the Silver Star crew boarded the Arang Madan, the ship caught fire and exploded, sinking rapidly. No official documentation, such as logbooks or distress messages, have been found to support the existence of the ship or the reported events. The Headless Nun. The tale of the Headless Nun is a ghost story that has been told in various forms in different cultures. One of the most well-known versions involves a haunted convent or a monastery and a tragic nun who met a gruesome fate. The story typically involves a nun who faced tragedy or committed a sin within the walls of a convent. The nature of the tragedy may vary, but it often includes themes of betrayal, forbidden love, or a terrible accident. In many versions of the legend, the nun meets a particularly gruesome end, often involving beheading. The ghost of the Headless Nun is said to wander the halls or grounds of a convent or monastery, seeking redemption or justice for the wrongdoing that led to her untimely death. Her spectral form is often described as headless, carrying her severed head or appearing as a figure without a face. The ghostly nun may be associated with various haunting manifestations such as eerie sounds, mysterious lights, or apparitions witnessed by those who enter the haunted location. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a classic urban legend that has been told in various forms across different cultures. The story typically involves a person driving late at night who picks up a hitchhiker, often a young woman, and gives her a ride to a specified location. After dropping off the hitchhiker, the driver later discovers that the person has vanished or died years before. The story often begins with the driver traveling alone late at night who encounters a hitchhiker along the roadside. The driver, out of kindness or sympathy, decides to pick up the hitchhiker and offers them a ride. The hitchhiker provides the driver with the destination, and during the journey they may engage in conversation. Upon reaching the specified location, the hitchhiker disappears from the car. The driver, puzzled and sometimes disturbed, investigates further and discovers that the hitchhiker matches the description of a person who died years earlier. The hitchhiker is revealed to be a ghost or a spirit seeking a ride to their intended destination. The driver unwittingly provided assistance to a supernatural being. Wizard Clip. The legend of Wizard Clip is associated with the paranormal activity and a haunted house in Prince William County, Virginia. The tale centers around a ghostly apparition and a series of mysterious events that took place in the 19th century. The legend is often considered one of the region's notable ghost stories. The legend is tied to the Weems family who owned the property. In particular, the ghostly figure is associated with a young woman named Fanny who was a member of the Weems family. According to the legend, Fanny fell in love with a British soldier during the Revolutionary War. The soldier was stationed in Dumfries and their secret romance led to tragedy. Fanny's affair was discovered and the Weems family sought to put an end to the relationship. In the course of events, Fanny was either killed or took her own life in despair. After Fanny's death, the house was said to be haunted by her spirit, and various paranormal activities were reported. Witnesses claimed to have seen a ghostly figure, and strange noises and unexplained occurrences were attributed to Fanny's lingering presence. The name Wizard Clip comes from a particular incident where Taylor was mending a cloak. As he worked, he claimed that the scissors inexplicably flew out of his hand and cut a piece of the fabric, as if by an invisible force or magic. The incident gave rise to the name Wizard Clip for the ghostly presence in the house. Tuyul. The term Tuyul or Toyol is used in Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malay and Indonesian cultures, to describe a supernatural being or spirit. The concept of Tuyul is deeply rooted in local beliefs and traditions. The Tuyul is often depicted as a small humanoid creature resembling a child. It is said to have a childlike appearance with a bald head and large round eyes. Some descriptions suggest that it has pointed ears and sharp teeth. It is believed to be some sort of supernatural being that can be summoned or controlled through magical practices. In some versions of the folklore, it is said to be created from the spirit of a deceased fetus or stillborn child. It is said to have the ability to steal or collect valuables, money, or other items on behalf of its master. People use the Toyo are believed to do so for personal gain, wealth, or to harm others. The creature is typically kept in a jar or container, and the owner can command it to perform tasks. However, controlling it often involves performing specific rituals and making offerings. It may be used to guard a household or business against supernatural threats. However, failure to properly care for or control it may result in negative consequences or punishment from the spirit. Huntu Air. In Malay and Indonesian folklore, the term Huntu Air refers to a type of supernatural entity associated with bodies of water, such as rivers, lakes, or ponds. The term Hantu translates to ghost or spirit. Air means water in Malay and Indonesian. The Huntu Air is believed to be a water spirit, ghost with mystical attributes, and often carries a sense of mystery and danger. The Huntu Air is said to reside in bodies of water, including rivers, lakes, or other aquatic environments. It is often associated with specific locations known for their natural beauty or treacherous waters. The appearance of the Huntu Air can vary in different folklore accounts. Some describe it as a beautiful and enchanting being, while others depict it as a more ominous and frightening figure. In some versions, the Huntu Air may have a supernatural glow or radiance. It's often associated with luring or tricking unsuspecting individuals, particularly those who approach the water. It may appear as a beautiful person to entice people closer to the water's edge. There are accounts suggesting that the Huntu Air has the ability to transform its appearance. The shape-shifting ability is a common theme in many supernatural folklore traditions. Communities living near bodies of water may have rituals, taboos, or offerings aimed at appeasing or avoiding encounters with these water spirits. Kuntilanak. In Indonesian folklore, the kuntilanak is a female ghost or spirit often associated with vengeful behavior and supernatural occurrences. The legend of the kuntilanak is widespread across Southeast Asian countries, including Indonesia and Malaysia. The kuntilanak is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth or a woman who experienced a tragic death. In some versions of the legend, she may be associated with infanticide, or a woman who died due to betrayal or injustice. She is a beautiful woman with long, flowing hair, dressed in white or traditional kabaya, a traditional blouse dress. Her appearance may seem normal at first glance, but there is a supernatural aspect to her character. Known for her vengeful nature, she may seek revenge for her untimely death or for the wrongdoings committed against her. One distinctive characteristic of the kuntilanak is her ability to mimic the cries of a baby. This serves as a lure to attract unsuspecting victims, leading them into potentially dangerous situations. She is known for having long, sharp nails or fangs which she uses to harm or terrify her victims. In some traditions, the kuntilanak is associated with a particular type of tree, such as a banyan tree. It is believed that she resides in or near these trees, adding a supernatural element to the legend. Sundel Bolong. Sundel Bolong is a well-known ghost or spirit in Indonesian folklore. The name Sundel Bolong can be translated to prostitute with a hole in English, and the legend is characterized by a female ghost with a mysterious hole or wound in her back. The supernatural entity is often depicted in traditional ghost stories, urban legends, and horror tales. She is described as a beautiful woman with long hair, often wearing a glowing white gown. The hole is said to be the result of a violent incident that led to her death. In many versions, she was a young woman who experienced a violent death, such as murder. She has a seductive and alluring nature. She may appear to men isolated or in dimly lit areas, luring them with her beauty before revealing her ghostly form and the hole in her back. It serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of immoral or violent actions, especially toward women. Folk beliefs associated with Sundel Bolong often include rituals or practices aimed at preventing encounters with the spirit. This may involve using protective talismans, reciting prayers, or avoiding certain locations. Longsayar. Longsuer, or Pontianak, is a female vampiric ghost or spirit in Malay and Indonesian folklore. The supernatural entity is often associated with folklore in Malaysia, Indonesia, and other parts of Southeast Asia. While the terms Langsur and Pontianak are often used interchangeably, they may sometimes be associated with slightly different characteristics or regional variations. A Langsur is believed to be the spirit of a woman who died during childbirth or due to tragic circumstances. In some versions, a woman who died with unfulfilled desires or unfulfilled vows may become a Langsur. It is described as a beautiful woman with long flowing hair dressed in a white gown. Her appearance may seem normal at first, but she is said to have long, sharp fingernails and a vampiric nature. She feeds on the blood of infants or young children, and some versions of the legend describe her as having the ability to transform into a bird. SS Baekhymo. The SS Baekhymo was a cargo ship that became famous as a ghost ship after being abandoned and left adrift in the Arctic Ocean. The story of the Baekhymo is one of the most enduring maritime mysteries and tales of survival. It was a steel-hulled cargo steamer built in Sweden in 1914. It was originally named the Angermanelfen and later purchased by Hudson's Bay Company in 1921. The ship primarily operated in the Arctic regions, transporting goods and supplies. In October 1931, the Baekhymo became trapped in pack ice off the coast of Alaska. The crew evacuated the ship, believing it would be crushed by the ice. However, the ship did not sink and later broke free. Despite being abandoned, the Baekhymo remained afloat and continued to drift in the Arctic waters. Over the following decades, the ship was sighted multiple times, floating unmanned and appearing as a ghost ship. It became the subject of various expeditions and rescue attempts. The ship was elusive due to its movements in the ice. The last confirmed sighting of the Baekhymo was in 1969 off the coast of Alaska. Despite efforts to locate and salvage the ship, It was never seen again. Its ultimate fate remains unknown and is presumed to have either sunk or become buried in the ice. The Jinni. The Jinni is often associated with the ghost ship known as the Jinni or Jinni schooner. The story of the Jinni is a maritime legend and ghost ship tale. While there are variations of the legend, one of the most famous stories involves a schooner named the Jinni that was found drifting at sea under mysterious circumstances. In some versions of the story, the Jinni is described as being in a perfect state of preservation, with everything on board appearing as if the crew had simply vanished. The tables may be set, personal belongings may be in place, and there are no signs of struggle or distress. Like many maritime legends, the story of the Jinni schooner has been adapted and retold in various forms over the years. Pocong. Pocong is a traditional Indonesian and Malay ghost or spirit that is a part of the folklore in these regions. The Pocong is often associated with death and burial rituals, and is known for its distinctive appearance and characteristics. It's typically depicted as a ghost wrapped in a burial shroud or white fabric known as a kain kafan. The fabric is tightly bound around the body, including the head, leaving only the face exposed. The Pocong is said to move by hopping or bouncing, as its legs are bound by the burial cloth. It's believed to be the spirit of a deceased person whose soul has not yet been released from the body or burial shroud. It's associated with individuals who have not received proper burial rites, or who have unfinished business in the mortal realm. In Indonesian and Malay cultures, it is customary to wrap the deceased in a burial shroud before placing them in a grave. The binding of the body is done to symbolize the transition from the earthly life to the afterlife. Funayure. Funayure is a term from Japanese folklore that refers to vengeful spirits of those who have died at sea or due to shipwrecks. The word is a combination of funa, meaning ship or boat, and yurei, meaning ghost or spirit. Funayure are considered a specific type of yurei associated with maritime tragedies. The spirits may harbor feelings of resentment, anger, or desire for revenge due to circumstances of their death. They are portrayed as pale, ghostly figures dressed in white burial kimono. Their long, disheveled hair covers their faces, and they may exhibit physical traits associated with their cause of death, such as waterlogged or damaged features. They haunt maritime locations like shores, beaches, and open waters. They may also appear near vessels. In some stories, they're associated with lights or lanterns that appear over the water. These lights are often considered ominous and are said to lead sailors astray or to their doom. Krasu. Krasu is a mythical creature in Thai and Southeast Asian folklore known for its distinctive and eerie appearance. It is often considered a type of ghost or supernatural being with certain vampiric qualities. The Krasu is typically described as a female spirit with floating head and internal organs hanging down from the neck. The disembodied head is said to have sharp fangs, a long tongue, and glowing eyes. The internal organs, which may include the digestive tract, heart, and entrails, are often depicted as luminescent and emitting a soft light. They're believed to be nocturnal. It is said to roam silently, flying through the air in search of food. The Krasu is often associated with a preference for consuming various substances, such as raw flesh, blood, or household items. In some versions of the legend, it is believed to feed on newborns or young children. The creature is often linked to stories of curses, particularly those involving individuals practicing dark magic or witchcraft in their past lives. One of the common themes in Krasu folklore is its ability to transform back into a normal-looking person during the daytime. This transformation allows the Krasu to hide its supernatural nature and blend in with the community. Ayakashi. Ayakashi is a term in Japanese folklore and language that can have different meanings depending on the context. In traditional Japanese folklore, Ayakashi can be used to refer to supernatural entities, strange occurrences, or mysterious phenomena. It is a broad term that encompasses various supernatural beings, including ghosts, spirits, or other mysterious creatures. Ayakashi can also be used to convey the sense of danger or warning. It is an expression that suggests caution or the potential for harm. For example, if someone says the situation is Ayakashi, they are indicating it might be precarious or unsafe. Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales is an animated television series that adapts classic Japanese horror stories. It consists of 3 arcs, Yotsuya Kaiden, Tenshu Monogatari, and Bakeneko. The series explores supernatural themes, and each arc presents different tales of horror and suspense. The success of Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales led to the creation of a spin-off series called Mononoke. The series follows a medicine seller, a mysterious traveler who exorcises malevolent spirits known as Mononoke. While not a direct continuation, Mononoke retains the supernatural and eerie themes introduced in Ayakashi. Gasha Dokuro. Gasha Dokuro is a mythical creature in Japanese folklore, often referred to as a giant skeleton or skeletal spirit. The word Gasha Dokuro is derived from the Japanese words gasha meaning rattling or clattering, and dokoro meaning skeleton. Gasha Dokuro is sometimes known as odokoro as well. It's said to be formed from the accumulation of the bones of people who died of starvation in battle without proper burial rites. The legend suggests that these vengeful spirits come together to form a colossal skeleton that roams in the night. Its height reaches about 15 times that of an average person. The skeleton may lack certain bones, emphasizing its incomplete and eerie nature. It is often associated with rural areas, graveyards, and places where mass deaths occurred. The creature is particularly known for its stealth, as it can sneak up on unsuspecting individuals due to its quiet movements. The name Gasha Dokuro is derived from the sound it supposedly makes, with its bones rattling or clattering as it moves. Some versions of the folklore mention that if you hear the sound, it may already be too late, as the Gasha Dokuro is close by. It has a gruesome appetite for humans. In some legends, it may reach down and snatch individuals to consume them. The creature's motives are often associated with vengeance for those who died without proper burial rites. Jelangkung. Jelangkung is an Indonesian ritual and traditional game associated with summoning spirits. It involves the use of a doll or effigy, typically made from wood or bamboo, to communicate with supernatural. The term Jelangkung is derived from Javanese, one of the major ethnic groups in Indonesia. To play the game, the participants gather in a dimly lit or dark room, creating an atmosphere conducive to the summoning of spirits. The participants gather around the Jelangkung doll and conduct a ritual to invoke the spirits. This may involve chanting, calling out to the spirits, or performing specific actions to attract supernatural entities. The doll may move, make sounds, or exhibit other signs of supernatural activity indicating the presence of spirits. The participants ask questions, seeking answers from the spirits through the movements or actions of the doll, and the responses are interpreted as messages from the spirit world. Susuk. Susuk refers to the traditional Malayan Indonesian charm or amulet that is believed to have mystical powers. These small, unusually needle-like items are made from various metals, such as gold, silver, and other precious metals, and they are inserted under the skin for spiritual or cosmetic purposes. It may be placed in various areas of the body, such as the forehead, cheeks, or collarbone. The process is often performed by a traditional healer or practitioner who is skilled in the art of susuk insertion. One of the primary purposes of susuk is to enhance physical beauty. It is believed that wearing susuk can make a person more attractive, alluring, charismatic. It's also thought to possess mystical properties that go beyond mere cosmetic enhancement. It's believed to bring good fortune, protect against negative energies, and even influence the behavior or feelings of others. The choice of material of the susuk may be associated with specific properties. For example, the gold susuk is often believed to bring wealth, while silver susuk is associated with protection. Prikoliki. Prikoliki is a mythical creature in Romanian folklore, particularly in the regions of Transylvania and Wallachia. The term Prikoliki is derived from the word prikol, meaning stake or pole, and is often associated with the werewolf-like beings. The Prikoliki is said to be a creature that transforms from a human into a wolf, or a hybrid wolf-human, during certain nights or under specific circumstances. The transformation is often associated with the full moon or other supernatural events. In many legends, the Prikoliki is portrayed as someone who is cursed or afflicted, leading to their transformation into a wolf-like creature. The curse is sometimes linked to immoral or wicked behavior during their human life. When in wolf form, the Prikoliki is said to exhibit aggressive and predatory behavior. It may roam the countryside, attacking livestock or even humans. The Brown Lady of Rainham Hall. The Brown Lady of Rainham Hall is one of the most famous ghost stories in English folklore, and it centers around Rainham Hall, an estate in Norfolk, England. The tale is associated with a photograph taken in September 1936 by Captain Hubert C. Provend and Indra Sira, two photographers from Country Life magazine, who were at the hall to capture images for an article. According to the legend, the ghost is believed to be Lady Dorothy Walpole, the wife of Charles Townshend, who lived in the 18th century. Lady Dorothy was the sister of Robert Walpole, the first Prime Minister of Great Britain. The story goes that she had an affair and was caught by her husband. As punishment, She was reportedly confined to her room in Raynham Hall for the rest of her life. The famous photograph captured by Provan and Shira supposedly shows the ghostly figure of a woman descending the staircase. Witnesses who claim to have seen the apparition describe a woman in old-fashioned brown dress, hence the name Brown Lady. The photograph gained widespread attention and is often cited in discussions of paranormal phenomena. Skeptics and believers alike have debated its authenticity and possible explanations. Some argue that the photograph may have been manipulated or that the alleged ghostly image is a result of double exposure. Others claim that the Brown Lady is genuine paranormal phenomenon. Silver Peelen. Silver Peelen, translated as the Silver Arrow, refers to a legendary and mysterious subway train in Stockholm, Sweden. The story of Silver Peelen has become a part of local urban legends, capturing the imaginations of residents and enthusiasts of the paranormal. It's often described as a ghost train, appearing and disappearing mysteriously in the Stockholm subway system. It's a silver-colored train that is distinct from the regular subway trains in both appearance and behavior. The legend tells that the Silver Peelen does not make regular stops at the stations like other trains. Instead, it is believed to appear at certain stations for a short duration, with the doors opening only for those who are destined to ride it. Some versions of the legend claim that the Silver Peelen is associated with supernatural or paranormal phenomena. Many accounts for Silver Peelen sightings occur during the late hours of the night when the subway system is less crowded. Some people claim to have seen the ghost train while waiting on the platform or passing through stations during the early morning hours. The Abraham Lincoln Funeral Train. The Abraham Lincoln Funeral Train refers to the train that transported the body of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, from Washington, D.C. to his final resting place in Springfield, Illinois. Following his assassination in April 1865, the funeral train journey took place in April and May of that year and became a solemn and historic event in American history. Following Lincoln's assassination on April 14, 1865, he died the following day on April 15. Plans for the funeral train were quickly organized to transport Lincoln's body from Washington, D.C. back to his hometown of Springfield, Illinois for burial. The route of the train would take it through major towns and cities, allowing people to pay their respects. The funeral train was a heavily adorned, specially constructed rail car that carried Lincoln's casket. The car was draped in mourning and adorned with funeral symbols. The journey included numerous stops along the way, where Lincoln's body lay in state, and the mourners had the opportunity to view the casket. The funeral train completed its journey, arriving in Springfield on May 3, 1865. Lincoln was interred in Oak Ridge Cemetery, where a monument, now known as the Lincoln Tomb, was later erected. Nang Tani. Nang Tani is a mythical ghost in Thai folklore, often described as a female ghost who appears as a floating headless woman. This supernatural entity is associated with Thai ghost stories and is known for haunting certain locations, particularly banyan trees. Nang Tani is often depicted as a woman without a head, with her head said to be carried in her hands or tucked under her arm. In some versions of the story, her head is described as hanging from a strip of flesh. One distinctive characteristic of Nang Tani is her ability to float or glide through the air. She is often associated with locations where banyan trees are present, and it is said that she appears near these trees, especially during the night. She is believed to produce eerie, mournful cries or weeping sounds. The legend tells that the cries can be heard when she is near, serving as a warning for those who encounter her. Wewe Gombel. Wewe Gombel is a mythical figure in Javanese folklore, specifically in Indonesia. The legend of Wewe Gombel is associated with a female ghost or spirit believed to be a caretaker of children. She is described as a tall, slender woman with long hair wearing a white gown. Despite her seemingly normal appearance, she is said to have a hunchback, which is sometimes hidden by her clothing. She is a caretaker of children, said to wander around villages and towns, especially in rural areas, looking for children who have misbehaved or neglected their chores. She kidnaps these children and takes them to a hidden place, and the children are said to never return. Some versions of the story involve Wewe Gombel using tricks or calling out the children, luring them away from their homes. The idea is to emphasize the importance of obedience and not wandering into unknown or unsafe areas. Samka. Samka is a character in Romanian mythology, a very ugly and scary evil spirit. She most commonly takes the appearance of a naked woman with disheveled hair growing down to her heels, small eyes that shine as brightly as the stars, with iron hands and long nails as sharp as knitting needles, or hooked as sickles and a tongue of fire. Other forms Samka can take are a very large and fierce pig, a grinning dog showing awful teeth, a hairless cat with fiery bulging eyes, a crow with bloody eyes, and a big black spider. In its woman form, this demon has a very large, ugly, and crooked mouth that always spits fire. It can come out at the end of each month around full moon, and it usually appears to children under the age of 4 who are so frightened that they become sick immediately. The disease children develop after Samka appears to them is called the children's malice. This demon can also appear to women lying on their birth bed. Once visible, she would touch the pregnant woman as if kneading on them, scaring them so much that they either die instantly or remain crippled for life. Samka has 19 names. To defend against her, people need to write all 19 names on the wall of the house, or have to convince someone else to write a protective spell, which they would afterwards carry on them. When attacked, the spell would make Samka harm the writer of the protective spell instead, with the exception that if the writer of the spell was old, Samka would not hurt them, making them just grit their teeth in their sleep. Babi Ngepet. Babi Ngepet is a creature or supernatural being in Indonesian folklore, particularly in Javanese tradition. The term Babi Ngepet translates to pig invoker in English. This folklore is often associated with mystical practices and superstitions. It is said that individuals who engage in Babi Ngepet rituals seek wealth, prosperity, or other personal gains through the use of forbidden or dark magic. The term Ngepet is associated with an activity where the practitioner invokes the spirit of a pig to bring them good fortune or wealth. This often involves rituals, spells, or offerings performed during specific times, such as certain phases of the moon, or other significant dates in the traditional Javanese calendar. Engaging in practices related to the Babi Ngepet is considered taboo and is often associated with negative consequences. It is believed that those who invoke Babi Ngepet may face misfortune, illness, or other calamities as a result of meddling with dark forces. Taniwha. A Taniwha is a mythical creature in Maori mythology, the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand. Taniwha are supernatural beings often associated with bodies of water, such as rivers, lakes, and seas. These creatures are considered guardians or protectors of specific places and can be both benevolent and malevolent. They are often described as shapeshifters capable of transforming into various forms, including those of sea creatures, reptiles, or even human-like figures. Maori tradition often emphasizes the importance of treating water sources with respect due to the presence of these supernatural guardians. The nature of a particular Taniwha is influenced by the relationship it has with the people in its vicinity. Janglot. The Janglot is a mythical creature or mystical object in Indonesian folklore and is often associated with supernatural beliefs. The term Janglot is derived from Javanese, and the creature is said to be small and doll-sized and possessed of magical or supernatural powers. It has sharp fangs, long hair, and is said to be preserved in a dried or mummified state. Some stories suggest it was originally a living being transformed into a supernatural creature through mystical practices. Others claim that the Janglot is created through dark rituals or by supernatural means. Since it's believed to possess magical or supernatural powers, some legends believe it can bring good fortune or serve as a protective charm for its owner. Others associate the Janglot with dark forces and tell it can be used for malevolent purposes. According to the folklore, owning a Janglot comes with certain responsibilities. Owners are required to provide offerings, rituals, or care to maintain the creature's supernatural powers and to prevent it from causing harm. Manananggal. The Manananggal is a mythical creature in Philippine folklore, particularly in the Visayan region. It is often described as a female monster or vampire-like being that can detach its upper torso from its lower body to fly at night in search of prey, usually pregnant women. The word Manananggal comes from the Filipino root word tanggal, which means to separate or remove. During the day, the Manananggal appears as a normal woman. However, at night, it undergoes a gruesome transformation. Pregnant women are the preferred victims of the Manananggal. It is believed that the creature consumes the heart or the fetus of the pregnant woman. It may also feed on the blood of sleeping individuals. Various methods are used to ward off or defeat the Manananggal. These may include the use of garlic, salt, holy water, or other items with supernatural properties. Jinn. Jinn are supernatural beings or spirits in Islamic mythology and theology. The concept of jinn is rooted in Islamic traditions and is mentioned in the Quran, which is the holy book of Islam. Jinn are believed to be created from smokeless fire, and they exist alongside humans and angels as one of the three sentient creatures of Allah. Jinn are typically invisible to humans. They inhabit the same world but exist in a parallel dimension that is beyond the normal human perception. While they can choose to remain unseen, there are accounts of instances where jinn have taken visible forms. Like humans, jinn possess free will and the ability to choose between right and wrong. Some jinn are believed to be good and follow the path of righteousness, while others may be evil and engage in harmful activities. They can shapeshift, possess humans, and influence their thoughts and actions. Some traditions also attribute the ability to grant wishes to jinn, similar to the concept of genies in popular Western folklore. Muslims also believe that certain verses from the Quran, along with specific prayers and rituals, can offer protection from harmful jinn. Islamic tradition categorizes jinn into different types, including Marid, which is rebellious and powerful, Ifrit, which is rebellious and cunning, and Sila, less powerful and often helpful. Phai Tai Hong. Phai Tai Hong is a term from Thai folklore and refers to a type of ghost or spirit in Thai mythology. The term can be translated to mean hungry ghost or starving ghost. These spirits are believed to be restless and tormented, often driven by unfulfilled desires or unattended matters from their earthly lives. While the appearance of Phai Tai Hong may vary in different stories, they are generally depicted as emaciated or skeletal figures. Phai Tai Hong are often associated with individuals who died under unfortunate or tragic circumstances, such as starvation or murder. The belief is that the unresolved issues from their lives lead to their restless existence as hungry ghosts. They're trapped in a state of perpetual hunger and dissatisfaction. They may wander in search of sustenance or attempt to communicate with the living to address their unmet needs. People may make offerings of food, money, or other items at shrines or places associated with these spirits. These offerings are meant to help provide comfort to the hungry ghosts and ease their suffering. The Hungry Ghost Festival, or Portor, is observed in some Southeast Asian countries, including Thailand, during the 7th month of the lunar calendar. This month is believed to be a time when spirits, including Phai Tai Hong, are released from the underworld and allowed to roam the human realm. Various ceremonies and offerings are made during this period to honor and appease the spirits. Shirime. The Shirime is a creature from Japanese folklore known for its distinctive and bizarre appearance. The creature is often featured in traditional ghost stories and legend. The term Shirime can be translated to mean buttock's eye or eye on the buttocks. The Shirime is described as a humanoid or ghostly figure with a completely featureless face, except for a single large eye located on its butt. The Shirime often appears in stories where it surprises or startles unsuspecting individuals, usually at night or in dark or isolated places. The creature reveals its distinctive eye by parting its buttocks, causing fear and shock in those who encounter it. Despite its bizarre appearance, the Shirime is not necessarily portrayed as a malevolent or harmful creature. Instead, its actions seem more aimed at shocking or surprising its victims. The encounter with the Shirime is meant to evoke a mix of fear and absurdity. Rangda. Rangda is a mythical and demonic figure in Balinese mythology, particularly within the traditions of the island of Bali in Indonesia. She is often considered a powerful and malevolent queen of witches, or a demon queen associated with dark or chaotic forces. Rangda plays a significant role in barong dance performances, a traditional Balinese dance that represents the eternal battle between good and evil. Rangda is typically depicted as a fierce and grotesque figure with long disheveled hair, large fanged teeth, and bulging eyes. She is portrayed as a formidable adversary embodying the forces of chaos and destruction. Despite her malevolent reputation, some Balinese communities view Rangda as a protective force. In certain rituals, the power of Rangda is invoked to ward off evil spirits or to counteract negative influences. Umibozu. In Japanese folklore, the Umibozu is a sea spirit or yokai that is often associated with the ocean or maritime activities. The term umibozu can be translated to mean sea monk or sea Buddhist priest. The umibozu is known for its eerie and mysterious nature and appears in various legends and stories. It's typically described as a giant humanoid figure with a smooth, featureless face. It's said to have a massive dark body that rises from the sea. Some accounts describe it as having a bald head or a hood-like covering. According to folklore, the umibozu is known to appear suddenly in calm seas, creating storms and capsizing ships. Sailors who encounter it are believed to be in great danger, and the creature is said to capsize vessels and drown sailors. In some stories, it makes strange demands or requests of soldiers. For instance, it may ask for a barrel to fill with water, and if the sailors fail to comply, it may attack or capsize the ship. Some tales tell that it is a vengeful spirit, while others depict it as a malevolent entity that enjoys causing chaos and destruction at the sea. Due to the ominous reputation of the umibozu, sailors would sometimes perform rituals or prayers to seek the protection from the creature before embarking on sea voyages. Oxhead and Horseface. Oxhead and Horseface, known as Nyotomamian in Chinese mythology, are two mythical creatures often associated with the afterlife and the underworld. They play roles as guardians or envoys of the underworld, particularly in Chinese folk religion and Taoist beliefs. They serve under Yama, the king of hell, and are responsible for maintaining order and overseeing the souls of the deceased. They have specific duties in the afterlife. They're tasked with escorting souls to the underworld, where the deceased undergo judgment for their actions during their earthly lives. Oxhead and Horseface ensure that the souls reach the appropriate realm based on their merits and demerits. Despite their fierce appearances, their roles are more akin to law enforcement in the afterlife rather than malevolent entities. Both Oxhead and Horseface play a role in determining the fate of the souls, whether they are to be reincarnated, sent to a specific realm, or face other consequences based on their actions in life. The worshippers may offer prayers and make offerings to the deities to seek protection for the deceased or to ensure a smooth passage for souls in the afterlife. Ifrit. The Ifrit is a powerful and malevolent supernatural creature in Islamic mythology and Middle Eastern folklore. Ifrits are a type of jinn, beings created from smokeless fire as we went over earlier, and they possess free will similar to humans. In Islamic tradition, jinn are one of the three creations of Allah alongside humans and angels. They are known for their strength, cunning, and rebellious nature. While some jinn are benevolent, Ifrits are often depicted as particularly malevolent. They are described as powerful and often wicked beings. They're associated with fire and believed to have the ability to shapeshift, turning into various forms. The transformation may include assuming a human appearance or appearing as smoke or fire. In some narratives, particularly in stories of Solomon's wisdom, there are accounts of powerful individuals or prophets using their knowledge and abilities to bind or control Ifrits for specific tasks. Shinigami. In Japanese folklore and popular culture, the Shinigami is a supernatural being or spirit that is often associated with death. The term Shinigami translates to death god or death spirit in English. Shinigami are commonly depicted as entities that guide souls to the afterlife or, in some cases, cause death. They are often portrayed as dark, grim figures with skeleton or skeletal-like appearances. They may wear traditional Japanese attire, such as a kimono or a cloak. In some representations, Shinigami are depicted carrying a scythe or other weapon, symbolizing their association with death and taking souls. While often linked to death, Shinigami are not necessarily malevolent beings. Some interpretations, they are neutral entities carrying out a natural and necessary function of the life cycle and death. One of the most well-known depictions of a Shinigami is Ryuk in the manga and anime series Death Note. In this series, Shinigami are depicted as supernatural beings who possess Death Notes, which allowed them to take human lives. Azrael. Azrael is an archangel in various religious traditions including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The name Azrael is often associated with the angel of death, or the angel who is responsible for separating the souls from the body at the time of death. Azrael's role is to extract the souls of the deceased from their bodies and guide them to the afterlife. They are depicted as a compassionate and merciful angel, understanding the significance of death in the broader spiritual journey. The name Azrael is not explicitly mentioned in the Hebrew Bible in the Old Testament. However, the concept of an angel of death is present in Jewish tradition. Some Jewish texts refer to an angel, often unnamed, who performs the task of separating the soul from the body. Azrael is sometimes mentioned with this angelic figure in various interpretations. Azrael is not a prominent figure in mainstream Christian theology, and the concept of an angel of death is not emphasized as it is in Islam. However, some Christian traditions and literature do mention angels associated with the process of death and the afterlife. Yanlua Wang. Yanlua Wang, also known as Yama, is a deity in Chinese mythology and folk religion who is commonly associated with the afterlife and the judgment of souls. The name Yanlua Wang can be translated to King Yanlua, with Yanlua being a title rather than a personal name. Yanlua Wang is often referred to as the King of Hell or the ruler of the underworld in Chinese mythology. He is believed to preside over the souls of the deceased and administer judgment based on their actions during their earthly lives. According to Chinese folklore, after death, souls are said to be brought before Yanlua Wang to undergo a judgment process. The deity reviews the deeds of the deceased, determining their fate in the afterlife. The souls may be rewarded or punished based on the merits and demerits of their actions. Yanlua Wang is depicted as a fearsome and imposing figure, reflecting his role as a deity of judgment. In artistic representations, he may be shown with a stern expression sitting on a throne and holding a register or book containing the records of individual lives. In Chinese mythology, Yanlua Wang is associated with the 10 kings of hell, each responsible for overseeing a specific realm or aspect of the afterlife. These kings collectively administer justice and determine the appropriate realm for the souls based on their moral conduct. The Sirat Bridge. The Sirat Bridge, also known as As-Sirat or Al-Sirat, is a symbolic and metaphysical bridge in Islamic eschatology. It is described as the narrow and perilous bridge that extends over the depths of hell and leads to paradise. The crossing of the Sirat Bridge is a significant event in Islamic belief about the Day of Judgment. It's believed to be a testing ground for individuals, and it serves as a passage that every soul must cross to reach its final destination. It's a razor-thin bridge that spans the chasm over hell, and it is said to be sharper than a sword and thinner than a hair. The Prophet Muhammad is reported to have described the difficulty of crossing the Sirat in various hadiths. The ability to successfully cross the Sirat depends on a person's deeds and faith during their earthly life. Those who lived righteous lives and followed the teachings of Islam are said to cross the Sirat swiftly and safely. However, those with sins and shortcomings may find the crossing more challenging. Malik. Malik is an Arabic term that means owner or king or sovereign. In an Islamic context, Malik is one of the names or attributes of Allah. It is often used to emphasize Allah's sovereignty, authority, and ownership over all things. Additionally, Malik is also one of the names of an angel in Islamic belief. Malik is described in the Quran as the keeper or guardian of hell, ensuring that its torment is administered according to divine justice. One of the significant references to Malik in the Quran is in Surah Al-Furqan 25:29. Quote, "Say, the dominion over the heavens and the earth belongs to Allah alone. He creates what He wills. He grants female offspring to whoever He wills and male offspring to whoever He wills. He gives them a mix of both males and females, and He makes whoever He wills barren. Surely He is all-knowing, all-powerful." End quote. This verse emphasizes Allah's absolute sovereignty over the heavens and the earth, using the term Malik to underscore His role as the supreme owner and ruler. Narakasura. Narakasura is a figure in Hindu mythology. He is the demon king who plays a significant role in Diwali festival, particularly in the South Indian states of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh. Narakasura is said to be the son of Bhudevi, who is Mother Earth, and Lord Varaha, one of the avatars or incarnations of the Lord Vishnu. Narakasura is described as a powerful and oppressive demon king who ruled the kingdom of Pragjyotisha. He was known for his tyranny, cruelty, and misuse of his powers. According to the Puranas, Narakasura gained control of the Pragjyotisha through force and intimidation, causing suffering to the people. Narakasura's story is intertwined with the legend of Lord Krishna. In one version of the story, Narakasura kidnaps the princess Satyabhama, who is later rescued by Lord Krishna. In retaliation, Lord Krishna confronts Narakasura and defeats him in battle. The battle between Lord Krishna and Narakasura is said to have taken place on the day before Diwali. Lord Krishna ultimately kills Narakasura, liberating the people from his oppressive rule. Before his death, Narakasura is granted a boon by Lord Brahma that he will die at the hands of a woman. This prophecy is fulfilled when Satyabhama, assisted by Lord Krishna, plays a crucial role in Narakasura's demise. Zakam. In Islamic tradition, Zakam refers to a tree described in the Quran, particularly in Surah As-Sifat 37:62-68. It is mentioned as a tree that grows in the depths of hell and serves as a form of punishment for the sinful. The relevant Quranic verses state, quote, "Is that paradise is a better accommodation or the tree of Zakam? Indeed, we have made it a torment for the wrongdoers. Indeed, it is a tree issuing from the bottom of the hellfire. And indeed, they will eat from it and fill with it their bellies. Then indeed, they will have after it a mixture of scalding water. Then indeed, their return will be to the hellfire." End quote. The tree of Zakam is depicted as having bitter, thorny fruits resembling the heads of devils. Those who have committed wrongdoing and are deemed of deserving punishment will be made to eat from the tree, along with a mixture of scalding water. This is presented as a form of torment for those who have transgressed. Nat. In Burmese folk religion, Nat refers to spirits or deities that are believed to inhabit the natural world, objects, and landscapes. The worship of Nats is an essential aspect of the Burmese culture, and it has deep historical and cultural roots. The term Nat is derived from the Pali word Natha, which means lord or protector. There are various types of Nats, each associated with specific places, natural elements, or attributes. Some Nats are believed to be the spirits of ancestors, while others are associated with mythological figures or historical personalities. The spirits of notable individuals who met tragic or untimely deaths are often venerated as Nats. Many Burmese households have spirit houses, small structures or shrines dedicated to Nats. These spirit houses are often adorned with such offerings as fruits, flowers, incense, and candles. The offerings are made to appease and honor the Nats, seeking their protection and blessings. Nat Kada are the individuals believed to have the ability to communicate with the Nats. During Nat ceremonies or rituals, Nat Kada may enter a trance-like state, allowing the Nat to possess them temporarily. This possession is considered a form of communication between the Nat and the human world. The Nat Quay is an annual festival held in various parts of Myanmar to honor and appease the Nats. The festival includes lively celebration with music, dance, and offerings. Nat Quay often involves the performance of traditional dances and rituals dedicated to specific Nats. Nats are believed to exist in a hierarchical structure, and some are believed to be more powerful and influential than others. There are higher-ranking Nats often associated with the royal courts or historical figures, as well as lesser-known and localized spirits. Baitul Ma'amur. Baitul Maqdis, or Baitul Ma'amur, refers to a sacred place in Islamic tradition. The name is often used interchangeably with two different locations. Baitul Maqdis in Israel, this refers to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and its surrounding precincts in Jerusalem. In Arabic, Baitul Maqdis means holy house or sacred house. Al-Aqsa Mosque is considered the third holiest site in Islam after the Kaaba in Mecca and the Prophet's Mosque in Medina. It holds significant religious and historical importance for Muslims. In Islamic cosmology, the Baitul Ma'amur also refers to a celestial or heavenly counterpart of the Kaaba. It is believed to be a sacred house in the heavens directly above the Kaaba on earth. According to Islamic tradition, the angels circumambulate Baitul Ma'amur, just as pilgrims circumambulate the Kaaba during the Hajj pilgrimage. Gabriel. In Christianity, Gabriel is an archangel with the power to announce God's will to humanity. He is mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the New Testament, the Quran, and the Kitab-i-Aqdas. In the Hebrew Bible, Gabriel appears to the prophet Daniel to explain his visions in Daniel 8:15-26 and 9:21-27. The archangel also appears in the book of Enoch and other ancient Jewish writings not preserved in Hebrew. Alongside the archangel Michael, Gabriel is described as the guardian angel of Israel, defending its people against the angels of other nations. In the New Testament, the Gospel of Luke relates the Annunciation, in which the angel Gabriel appears to Zechariah, foretelling the birth of John the Baptist, with the angel Gabriel foretelling the Virgin Mary the birth of Jesus Christ, respectively, in Luke 1:11-38. Islam regards Gabriel as an archangel sent by God to various prophets, including Muhammad. The first 5 verses of the Al-Alaq, the 96th chapter of the Quran, are believed by Muslims to have been the first verses revealed by Gabriel to Muhammad. Resurrection of Jesus. The resurrection of Jesus is the Christian belief that God raised Jesus from the dead on the 3rd day after his crucifixion, starting or restoring his exalted life as Christ and Lord. According to the New Testament writing, Jesus was the firstborn from the dead, ushering in the kingdom of God. He appeared to his disciples, calling the apostles to the great commission of forgiving sin and baptizing repenters, and ascended to heaven. Moksha. Moksha, also called Vimoksha, Vimukti, and Mukti, is a term in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism for various forms of emancipation, liberation, nirvana, or release. In its soteriological and eschatological senses, it refers to freedom from samsara, the cycle of death and rebirth. In its epistemological and psychological senses, moksha is freedom from ignorance, self-realization, self-actualization, and self-knowledge. Israfil. Israfil is the angel who blows the trumpet to signal the Day of Judgment in Islam. Although unnamed in the Quran, he is one of the 4 archangels in Islamic tradition, along with Michael, Gabriel, and Azrael. The Book of the Dead described Israfil as the oldest of all archangels. He is commonly thought of as the counterpart of the Judeo-Christian archangel Raphael. Israfil writes with the pen the destiny of humans and all commands of God to the other archangels. With one wing, Israfil carries the pen, and with another wing, Israfil covers his face, being unable to look at God. Bearers of the Throne. In Islamic tradition, the bearers of the throne are 4 angels, Hamlat al-Arsh. These 4 angels are also held to be created from 4 different elements: light, fire, water, and mercy. In his commentary about al-Aqidah al-Tahawiyah, Ibn Abi al-Iz has quoted a hadith regarding the physical size of the angel, which authored by Abu Dawud al-Sijistani. It is said they are so large that a journey from their earlobes to their shoulders would take 700 years. Day of Judgment. The Last Judgment, Final Judgment, Day of Reckoning, Day of Judgment, Judgment Day, Doomsday, Day of Resurrection, or Day of the Lord is a concept found across Abrahamic religions and the Brahmacharya of Zoroastrianism. Christianity considers the second coming of Jesus Christ to entail the final judgment by God of all people who have ever lived, resulting in the approval of some and the penalizing of most. The concept is found in all the canonical Gospels, particularly in the Gospel of Matthew. The Christian tradition is also followed by Islam, where it is mentioned in many chapters of the Quran according to some interpretations. And that's all for this iceberg. Now for some honorable mentions before we end the iceberg. The Gurdon Light. The Gurdon Light is an atmospheric ghost light located near railroad tracks in a wooded area of Gurdon, Arkansas. It is the subject of local folklore and has been featured in local media and on Unsolved Mysteries and Mysteries at the Museum. The tracks are no longer in use, and the rails, at least partially, are removed and covered, but it remains one of the most popular Halloween attractions in the area. The light has been described as blue, green, white, or orange and appearing to have a bobbing movement. According to folklore, the light is the swinging lantern of a ghost brakeman accidentally beheaded by a passing train, searching for his disembodied head. Another variation of the legend holds that the light is a lantern carried by the ghost of a worker killed in a fight with another railroad employee on the tracks. According to skeptical writer Brian Dunning, very similar folklore exists for a number of such ghost lights, and it's not likely headless brakemen can be a common occurrence. The light has been proposed to be the reflection of passing cars on Interstate 30. However, believers contend that there have been reports of the lights since the 1930s, while the interstate was not built until the 50s. Devil's Footprints. The Devil's Footprints was a phenomenon that occurred on February 1855 around the Exe-Estuary in East and South Devon, England. After a heavy snowfall, trails of hoof-like marks appeared overnight in the snow, covering a total distance of some 40 to 100 miles. On the night of the 8th of February 1855 and 1 or 2 later nights, after a heavy snowfall, a series of hoof-like marks appeared in the snow. These footprints, most of which measured about 4 inches or 10 centimeters long, 3 inches and 7.6 centimeters across, between 8 and 16 inches or 20 and 41 centimeters apart, and mostly in single file, were reported from more than 30 locations across Devon and a couple in Dorset. It was estimated that the total distance of the tracks amounted to between 40 and 100 miles or 60 and 160 kilometers. Houses, rivers, haystacks, and other obstacles were traveled straight over. Footprints appeared on tops of snow-covered roofs and high walls which lay in the footprints' path. as well as leading up to and exiting drain pipes as small as 4 inches 10 centimeters in diameter. The 26th of May 1855 issue of Bell's Life Sydney published in its Miscellaneous Extracts column a weekly dispatch stated the 18th of February, quote, "It appears that on Thursday last night there was a very heavy snowfall in the neighborhood of Exeter and the south of Devon. On the following morning, the inhabitants of the above towns were surprised at the discovering of the footmarks of some strange and mysterious animal endowed with the power of ubiquity, as the footprints were seen in all kinds of unaccountable places, on the tops of houses and narrow walls, in gardens and courtyards, enclosed by high walls and palings, as well as in open fields. The superstitions go as far as to believe that they are marks of Satan himself, and that great excitement has been produced among all classes may be judged from the fact that the subject has been dissented on from the pulpit. The impressions of the foot closely resembled that of a donkey's shoe, and measured from 1.5 inches to, in some instances, 2.5 inches across. Here and there it appears as if cloven, but in the generality of the steps the shoe was continuous, and from the snow in the center remaining entire, merely showing the outer crest of the foot, it must have been concave." End quote. The area in which the prints appeared extended from Exmouth up to Topsham, and across the ex-Estuary to Dawlish and Teignmouth. R.H. Busk, in an article published in the Notes and Queries during 1890, stated that footprints also appeared further afield, as far south as Totnes and Torquay, and that there were other reports of the prints as far away as Weymouth or Dorset, and even Lincolnshire. Bridgewater Triangle. The Bridgewater Triangle is an area of about 200 square miles or 520 square kilometers within southeastern Massachusetts in the United States, claimed to be a site of alleged paranormal phenomena ranging from UFOs to poltergeists and other spectral phenomena, various Bigfoot-like sightings, giant snakes, and thunderbirds. The term was coined by New England-based cryptozoologist Loren Coleman. The Freetown Fall River State Forest has reportedly been the site of various cult activities including animal sacrifice, ritualistic murders committed by admitted Satanists, as well as a number of gangland members and a number of suicides. The areas within the Bridgewater Triangle are as follows: the Freetown Fall River State Forest. The Freetown Fall River State Forest has reportedly been the site of various cult activity, including animal sacrifice, ritualistic murders committed by admitted Satanists, as well as a number of gangland murders. Profile Rock, the supposed site where the Wampanoag historical figure Anawan received the lost wampum belt from Philip. Legend has it that the ghost of a man can be seen sitting on the rock with his legs crossed or with outstretched arms, located within the Free Fall River State Forest. Solitude Stone, an inscribed stone located near Forest Street in West Bridgewater, was found near a missing person's body. The rock was found with the inscription, "All ye who in future days walk by Nantucket stream, loved not him who hummed his lay cheerful to the parting beam, but the beauty that he wooed." Bridgewater State University. Several buildings and rooms on campus are alleged to be haunted by ghosts and other paranormal phenomena. Taunton State Hospital. Some visitors have claimed that they had strange paranormal experiences in the hospital, including being touched and pulled in by certain areas of the hospital. It is also claimed that the hospital was used by satanic cults during the 60s and 70s. Hornbeam School. The one-room schoolhouse was built during the 1840s and remained active in use until 1937. The building is alleged to be haunted by its former inhabitants. Common to most of these areas is a mix of reported phenomena that includes reports of unidentified flying objects, often in the form of bright balls of light and large unusual spacecraft, unnatural animal sightings ranging from unusual reports of animals that are not found within the area, such as panthers and bears, to more supernatural claims of giant snakes and enormous vicious dogs. Paranormal humanoids, including sightings of Bigfoot, ghosts, poltergeists, and shadow people. Thunderbird sightings, like giant birds or pterodactyl-like flying creatures with wingspans up to 12 feet, are claimed to have been seen in Hockomock Swamp, and neighboring Taunton and Easton, including a report by Norton Police Sergeant Thomas Downey. Cult activity, especially animal mutilations. Various incidents of animal mutilation have been reported, particularly in Freetown and Fall River, where local police were called to investigate mutilated animals believed to be the work of a cult. 2 specific incidents in 1998 were reported, one in which a single adult cow was found butchered in the woods, the other in which a group of calves were discovered in a clearing, grotesquely mutilated as if part of a ritual sacrifice. Native American curses. According to one tale, Native Americans had cursed the swamp centuries ago because of conflict with colonial settlers. A revered object of the Wampanoag people, a belt known as the Wampum Belt, was lost during King Philip's War. Legend says that the area owes its paranormal unrest to the fact that this belt was lost from the native people. And finally, Pukwudgie, a creature from Algonquin folklore. The local Wampanoag people consider these little people to be dangerous tricksters. They have been especially associated with the Freetown State Forest within the Bridgewater Triangle. Wekufe. In the Mapuche language, Mapudungun, the word Wekufe can be attributed to any person that lies or is deceptive. It was only after the arrival of Catholicism, when the Mapuche people had gained the concept of evil, that the word became associated with demons. Since that time, the idea behind Wekufe has broadened to include multiple meanings, either as a subject, quality, or agent depending on the speaker's reference point or the situation that it is used in. The word is generally used as a generic name in order to describe creatures from Mapuche mythology that usually have harmful intentions towards human beings. These creatures can have solid material bodies, evanescent ghost-like bodies, or be extracorporeal spirits-like entities. They project from or originate in the Wekufe's energy, which is characterized by its propensity to disturb the balance of the world's natural order. In this way, they cause illness, destruction, death, and other calamities amongst the Mapuche. Wekufes are often incorrectly likened to beings with similar characteristics as the Gaulichos, or the demons of Greek or other mythologies. The missionaries who followed the Spanish conquistadors to America interpreted the Mapuche beliefs regarding both Wekufes and Gaulichos in the context of their own religion. They used the word Wekufe as a synonym for the devil, demons, and other evil diabolical forces. Mapuche legends say that Wekufes come from Minchen Mapu, which is located to the west beyond Mapu, the Mapuche word for land, although in this instance it refers to the land described by the traditional Mapuche worldview. These beings originated from forces or energies that disturb or destroy the world's natural order. Unlike other living beings or spirits that possess their own soul, Wekufes are soulless. They entered the world as a consequence of the mythical battle against the Pilan spirits, which resulted in the breaking of Admapu, the system of rules that define the Mapuche behavior, and the destruction of the perfect harmony of the Winamapu, which is the world of goodness. This battle also disrupted the land of Minchin Mapu, allowing the Wekufes and the Laftrashes, which has previously been confined there, to escape and roam the Mapu and live in the Magmapu, which is the world of evil, to the west of Mapu. The best known of the Wekufes are Troke Wekufe and Canilo, both of which are powerful Wekufes with the ability to change into solid form. Ectoplasm. In spiritualism, ectoplasm, also known simply as ecto, is a substance or spiritual energy exteriorized by physical mediums. It was coined in 1894 by physical researcher Charles Richet. Although the term is widespread in popular culture, there is no scientific evidence that ectoplasm exists, and many purported examples were exposed as hoaxes fashioned from cheesecloth, gauze, or other natural substances. The term comes from the ancient Greek words ektos, meaning outside, and plasma, meaning anything formed. In spiritualism, ectoplasm is said to be formed by physical mediums when in a trance state. This material is excreted as gauze-like substance from orifices on the medium's body, and spiritual entities are said to drape this substance over their non-physical body, enabling them to interact with the physical and real universe. Some accounts claim that ectoplasm begins clear and almost invisible, but darkens and becomes visible as the psychic energy becomes stronger. Still, other accounts state that in extreme cases, ectoplasm will develop a strong odor. According to some mediums, the ectoplasm cannot occur in light conditions, as the ectoplasmic substance would disintegrate. The physical researcher Gustave Gillet defined ectoplasm as being very variable in appearance, being sometimes vaporous, sometimes a plastic paste, and sometimes a bundle of fine threads or a membrane with swellings or fringes, or a fine fabric-like tissue. Arthur Conan Doyle described ectoplasm as a viscous, gelatinous substance, which appeared to differ from every known form of matter in that it could solidify and be used for material purposes. The physical existence of ectoplasm has not been scientifically demonstrated, and the tested samples purported to be ectoplasm have been found to be various non-paranormal substances. Necromancy. Necromancy is the practice of magic involving communication with the dead by summoning their spirits as apparitions or visions for the purpose of divination, imparting the means to foretell future events and discover hidden knowledge. sometimes categorized under death magic, the term is occasionally used in a more general sense to refer to black magic or witchcraft as a whole. Early necromancy was related to and most likely evolved from forms of shamanism or prehistoric ritual magic that calls upon spirits such as the ghosts of deceased forebears. Classical necromancers address the dead in a mixture of high-pitched squeaking and low droning, comparable to the trance state mutterings of shamans. Necromancy was prevalent throughout antiquity, with records of its practice in ancient Egypt, Babylonia, Greece, ancient Etruria, Rome, and China. In his Geographica, Strabo refers to necromantia, or diviners by the dead, as the foremost practitioners of divination among the people of Persia, and is believed to have also been widespread among the peoples in Chaldea, particularly the Hermeticists, or star worshippers, and in Babylonia. The Babylonian necromancers were called Manzazu, or Sha'edemu, and the spirits they were raised were called Edemu. Traditional Chinese folk religion involves necromancy in seeking blessing from dead ancestors through ritual displays of filial piety. The oldest literary account of necromancy is found in Homer's Odyssey. Under the direction of Circe, a powerful sorceress, Odysseus travels to the underworld, or Catabasis, in order to gain insight about his impending voyage home by raising the spirits of the dead through the use of spells which Circe has taught him. He wishes to invoke and question the shade of Tiresias in particular. However, he is unable to summon the seer's spirit without the assistance of others. The Odyssey's passages contain many descriptive references to necromantic rituals. Rites must be performed around a pit with fire during nocturnal hours, and Odysseus has to follow a specific recipe, which includes the blood of sacrificial animals to concoct a libation for the ghosts to drink while he recites prayers to both the ghosts and the gods of the underworld. Practices such as these, varying from the mundane to the grotesque, were commonly associated with necromancy. Rituals could be quite elaborate, involving magic circles, wands, talismans, and incantations. The necromancer might also surround himself with morbid aspects of death, which often included wearing the deceased clothing and consuming foods that symbolized lifelessness and decay, such as unleavened black bread and unfermented grape juice. Some necromancers even went so far as to take part in the mutilation and consumption of corpses. These ceremonies could carry on for hours, days, or even weeks, leading up to the eventual summoning of spirits. Frequently, they were performed in places of interment and other melancholy venues that suited specific guidelines of the necromancer. Additionally, necromancers preferred to summon the recently departed based on the premise that their revelations were spoken more clearly. This time frame was usually limited to the 12 months following the death of the physical body. Once this period elapsed, necromancers would evoke the deceased ghostly spirit instead. Hellhounds. A hellhound is a mythological hound that embodies a guardian or a servant of hell, the devil, or the underworld. Hellhounds occur in mythologies around the world, with the best known examples being Cerberus from Greek mythology, Garmr from Norse mythology, the black dogs of English folklore, and the fairy hounds of Celtic mythology. Physical characteristics may vary, but they are commonly black, anomalously overgrown, supernaturally strong, and often have red eyes or are accompanied by flames. Old Red Eyes, or the Beast of Flanders, was a demon reported in Flanders, Belgium in the 18th century who would take the form of a large black hound with fiery red eyes. In Wallonia, the southern region of Belgium, folktales mention the chained hound in Walloon, a hellhound with a long chain that was thought to roam the fields at night. Numerous sightings of hellhounds persist throughout the Czech lands. In France in 856 AD, a black dog was said to materialize in a church even though the doors were shut. The church grew dark as it padded up and down the aisle as if it was looking for someone. The dog then vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. On mainland Normandy, the Rongueur d'Os wanders the streets of Bayeux on winter nights as a phantom dog, gnawing on bones and dragging chains along with it. In Lower Brittany, there were stories of a ghost ship crewed by the souls of criminals with hellhounds set to guard them and inflict on them 1,000 tortures. In Germany, it is believed that the devil would appear as a black hound, especially on Walpurgisnacht. In Greek mythology, Cerberus, often referred to as the Hound of Hades, is a multi-headed dog that guards the gates of the underworld to prevent the dead from leaving. He was the offspring of the monsters Echidna and Typhon, and was usually described as having 3 heads, a serpent for a tail, and snakes protruding from multiple parts of his body. In Norse mythology, Garmr or Garm, which is Old Norse for rag, is a wolf or dog associated with both the goddess Hel and Ragnarok, and described as a blood-stained guardian of Hel's Gate. In Catalan myth, Dip is an evil, black, hairy hound, an emissary of the devil who sucks people's blood. Like other figures associated with demons in Catalan myth, he is lame on one leg. In Galicia, The Urko was a giant black hound that led Santa Campagna, a version of the Wild Hunt. In religious beliefs of the Gaunch people of the Canary Islands, the Tibecanas were the canine offspring or attendants of the malevolent volcano deity Gayoda. The hellhound myth is common across Great Britain in the form of black dogs of English folklore. The earliest written record of the hellhound is the 11th and 12th century Peterborough version of the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which speaks of a wild hunt through the forest between Peterborough and Stamford. Black hellhounds with fiery eyes are reported throughout Latin America from Mexico to Argentina under a variety of names, including Perro Negro, Nahal, Huaychivo, and Huaypec. They are said to be either incarnations of the devil or a shape-shifting sorcerer. The legend of the hellhound has persisted in Meriden, Connecticut since the 19th century. The dog is said to haunt the Hanging Hills, a series of rock ridges and gorges that serve as a popular recreation area that can also be known as a protector of the supernatural. The first non-local account came from W.H.C. Piken in the Connecticut Quarterly, in which it is described as a death omen. It is said, "If you meet the black dog once, it shall be for joy. If twice, it shall be for sorrow, and the third time shall bring death." Additionally, the term is common in American blues music, such as in Robert Johnson's 1937 song Hellhound on My Trail. The Hodo is a legendary creature originating within the minorities of southern China. It is described as having the appearance of a large black dog that can emit flames from its mouth. Fire would break out wherever the Hodo went, so the ancients saw it as a sign of fire and often an ominous symbol. It is probably a demonized tribal symbol of southern China. And finally, in Japanese folklore, the Okuri Inu, which is Japanese for escorting dog, is a yokai that resembles a dog. The Okuri Inu closely stalks and follows people walking along mountain paths in the nighttime. If a person falls over by chance, they will immediately be eaten up, but if they pretend to be having a short rest, they will not be attacked. Alright, and that's it for this iceberg. Yeah, at the end there, we almost went into cryptid territory, but that's definitely going to be reserved for another iceberg. The next iceberg is going to be the Minecraft iceberg, and that one's going to be a long one. It's going to be about 3 hours. So I'm going to release that in parts. I'm trying to get an hour-long video out at about every 3 days or so. So, I'm back. I'm here to stay. I'm here to stay. And put your iceberg requests in the comments. I want to cover icebergs that you guys want to hear covered. So, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.